Hey there, it's Carolyn Grimm with Nonprofit Financial Mastery. We are here today to talk about contributions and pledges. Now, why do we want to talk about contributions and pledges? Because money fuels mission. You don't have money, you can't do the mission stuff, so you got to make sure that you've got the money to fuel the mission. The second reason that it matters is because accurate records are essential. They're essential for two things: financial health and transparency. I always talk about transparency. Here we are again talking about transparency. Now let's talk about the major difference between contributions and pledges. The major difference is contributions are money you've received. Pledges are promised money that we hope we're going to see later on. Now, when we're talking about when to record revenue, it's really important that you check with your accountant about your particular nonprofit, because it's going to vary depending on what the basis of your accounting is, because it could be cash basis, could be accrual basis, could be modified cash basis. So it's really important that you check in with your accountant to make sure that you're recording this correctly. But typically when we're talking about contributions, they're going to be recognized as revenue when the cash is received. When we're talking about pledges, pledges are not revenue right now. Pledges are future cash flows. So typically we're going to record that as revenue when we're receiving the cash. And again, check with your accountant for your specific nonprofit. When we're talking about pledges, we need a way to keep track of those pledges. And we typically track them using a receivables account. A receivables account is an asset that says we're going to receive this cash later on. Now, depending on your nonprofit, the way your chart of accounts is set up, you may be using accounts receivable to do this, or you may have an actual pledges receivable account set up for this. Setting your accounts up in this way is going to allow you to run a report so you can see how much you have in pledges, who's behind on sending their pledge money in so you can follow up with them. And it's also a good tool for helping you to plan your cash flow. So when we're talking about contributions, those contributions can either be conditional or unconditional. So an unconditional contribution is a guaranteed thing. Conditional contributions, on the other hand, it depends. If you do the thing that the donor wants you to do, then you'll get. So let's say I'm going to donate money to your nonprofit so you can build a playground. I will give you this money on the condition that you will build this playground. If you build the playground, the money is yours. If you don't build the playground, I want the money back. Or I might say, if you build that playground, then I will send you the money for it. So unconditional, there aren't any strings attached. Conditional, there are strings attached, and the donor is looking for you to do something in exchange for that. Now, when we're talking about pledges, we said pledges are future cash. The problem with pledges is that they aren't guaranteed. Not all pledges are collected. There are a couple of different ways to record those uncollected pledges, and it depends on how your accounting system is set up. So again, it's important for your specific nonprofit that you check with your accountant to see how to handle it. It could be that you're just doing a direct write-off, or it could be that you need to set up an allowance for uncollectible pledges. As with anything in a nonprofit, it's really important that the things that need to get documented, things like conditions of a donation or what the restrictions are on a donation, it's really important that that is well documented in a way that is going to carry on if you hire a new bookkeeper or you have a new board member. But when you have good tracking of contributions and pledges, it helps with financial planning. And as we move through this series about nonprofit accounting, we're going to be taking that nonprofit accounting foundation and using it to build out a financial plan. And that's all going to start with making sure that we have good documentation, things are being done accurately and consistently, because that will help us to build out things like budgets and cash flow forecasts. So I will see you in the next video.